All right, so quick tutorial as fast as I can, uncut, just for you guys here. I'm not going to put a bunch of effort into editing this into anything, but this is how you do the soundboard command: recording, normalizing, cutting up, and putting into Streamer.bot. So this tutorial specifically is going to be about Streamer.bot, which I know is not available on Mac. However, you should be able to kind of circumvent this by using something like Streamlabs chatbot or something like that. However, for some of those other applications and stuff, they don't trigger just off of random words that you set it to. You often have to do the exclamation point and then the command, which does pull away from the dynamic aspect of how my particular soundboard works. But you guys are more than free to figure out what works for you. But this is Streamer.bot, so we're going to use that, which is Windows based, which is I think the best way to achieve this. So the first thing you're going to need is a computer, and you are also going to need YouTube or Plex or a file on your computer or literally anything, because what we're going to be doing is recording the audio that our speakers are playing back and just recording that in Audacity. So you are going to need Audacity. I'm sure you can do this in, a much more powerful DAW, or like, oh, I use Pro Tools, I use Cubase, I use Logic. It's like, that's cool. You want to do this in Ableton? Have fun with a headache. But like, Audacity is the easiest, most lightweight way to do this. It's basically the only thing that I use Audacity for. That and like telling people when their mic levels are at -30, and I'm like, I know mathematically that your stream is too quiet. Make sure it's dancing in the yellow. Okay, so Audacity. Let's just set this up first. So you are going to set it to you've got over here by your microphone. You have your MME, your Windows Direct Sound, and Windows Wasapi. We want to go to Windows Wasapi. Do I know exactly what that is? No, but what it does is it basically just listens to whatever is playing on your computer. So what you also need, well, actually, technically no, but you do need Wasapi selected. What the actual input is here, this mic here, and then to the right you have, I have it set up for my 2 Focusrite USB audio, and you need it to be loop back. So like me, I have a bunch of inputs and stuff, but right here you're going to find my interface, my USB audio, and in brackets loop back. You need loop back, otherwise it won't work. So you want it to be stereo, obviously, because you want your dynamic sound to sound as dynamic as possible. If you are, for some reason, recording something that's only in like one ear, or the balance is super weird, you could record it in mono just to like focus it up a little bit, because sometimes, if you're listening to like cell phone footage or something and it's like way off and it's way stronger on this side than here and it sounds super weird, you can do it in mono, but you can always just change that later as well. Now, your speakers for your playback, you want the same as the playback, just so that you can listen to the audio back after you've recorded it and make sure that it's like, correct. So yeah, this one's just your speaker output, nothing super fancy. But this, the microphone, you need your whatever your audio interface is, or whatever is listening to your audio, and it has to be loop back. So, example, I need to put in the shame bell from Game of Thrones, because the amount of times I've needed to use the word shame in my stream, I'm surprised it hasn't been there already. So we click to start monitoring. I click on here.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
So the audio is going to be coming through here. We can see it's working. So now I can just hit it to the beginning, go here, hit record, hit play.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
Gonna let this play out.
Shame. Shame.
I'm gonna make different iterations of this, which is why I need it to all play out like this.
Shame. Shame.
All right, so in Audacity, you can hold Control on your keyboard and use your mouse wheel to scroll in and out, just so you can get a kind of a bird's eye view of your audio track here. So here, what I like to do with all of these commands is just highlight it right away, go to Effect, and go to Normalize. So what normalizing is just looking at the loudest point of your file and then raising the overall volume to -1 dB. Anything at zero is anything above 0 is going to be distorted and clipped. So -1 is a very safe but loud point for the audio. You can obviously go in and normalize stereo channels independently. It's like you can do that if one side is like weirdly off, like I was saying about the mono thing, but I don't worry about that. So you notice how this just made it a whole heck of a lot louder. So from here, we are going to, because you have your speakers set to output, so now we are going to listen to the track that we just made. I don't know if this is going to come through on the recording because I didn't actually set up Audacity output for this. So yeah, I'm just going to listen back. This is the click. Okay, we've got our first shame. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to highlight this first part before shame here and just hit backspace. And then we just got
Shame.
shame. So we're just going to try and isolate shame.
Shame.
So I'll do this. And okay, this is my little quick way of doing this. I just highlight a section from the larger piece. I go Control C for copy, and then I'll go Control N for new. I'll make a new Audacity session, and then I'll just Control V and paste it here. Because then I can do individual tracks from the same thing. Like for example, I want, whenever somebody says the word shame, I want it to say the shame and the ding or whatever. But I don't want it to be the same sound effect every time. But every time somebody types shame, I also don't want it to play 20 seconds of freaking footage. That's boring and super old and played out. So if somebody types shame, it should pull from a random assortment of versions of shame. So one will be shame, one will be shame, one will be shame, ding, you know, like, so we're trying to vary it up. So whenever a bunch of people start typing shame, it starts playing different versions of shame, which I think is, again, way more dynamic. So we just highlight it, copy, make a new session with Control N, and then just drag it in here, and then you have that. So what we're going to do, we're going to take the end of this clip because it's a hard cut, right? It's a hard cut, so we're going to highlight just the end of the tail here and go to Effect and go to Fade Out, and just that automatically works. So for this, technically what you could do is normalize each individual clip, but because they're part of the same scene, I'm not really worried about it. Streamer.bot every once in a while does this issue for me. It might be different for you, where if the sound clip is too short, it kind of cuts off before it ends. So just for safety, I like to put a buffer, which is just some empty space behind the sound clip. So I'll highlight just, you know, half about the amount after, and I'll go to generate, and I'll go to generate silence, and just hit OK. And then you have to tap this little line in between, and it glues it together, because then we have shame.
Shame.
And technically there is like a little click here, so I mean I could just generate silence for that. There you go. Perfect. Perfect. There's no click. You know, you're trying to like avoid having like random ambiances and clicks and footsteps and stuff. You want to isolate the voice as clear as you can. So that's how you do that. And then you can obviously do this, like example, I'm gonna copy this, go to a new session, and paste just this section from here into here, and it's all the same thing. You would just go to the end, go to Effect, go to Fade Out, you know, highlight at the end. Hi, Kira. Yeah, you can go out in a minute. Okay. And then you just go to Generate, Silence, fill in that space at the back, and bada bing, bada boom, it's the same. You can do as many iterations of this as you want. But for the interest of time, I'm just going to focus on this one shame bell. Go to export. Export as MP3. You do not need a WAV file for this kind of thing. It's just needless space. You're not going to be manipulating it after the fact. So for me, I have a big old folder full of all of my sound crap or whatever. So because I'm probably going to be doing different iterations of this bell, I want to do shame bell 1. And then from there, as I go through, I can make shame bell 2, shame bell 3, shame bell 4. Just hit save. Now, the fun part begins. We open up Streamer.bot because we have that saved in a folder, and you are going to want to save this in a folder of sound effects, because once you get the itch for making soundboard sounds, you are not going to want to stop, and you are going to want to have them organized. So put them somewhere that makes sense. From here, you're going to open your Streamer.bot. Here we go. Whoop. Right here, Streamer.bot. You are going to go to Actions. Just for the interest of time, I'm going to already grab one of the commands that I have, but you would just right click and go add command, name it. Also, random action is how you will be doing the selection between, bell 1, bell 2, bell 3, bell 4, bell 5. So I'm actually just going to use a random action version. Random action that I've already created just for this very specific thing. So I will walk it through. Don't panic. I'm just going to duplicate this so that I don't have to do some of the basic groundwork. So if I'm making an action, I would call it shame bell. And it's going to be audio cue because that's the organization that I have in Streamer.bot. This cue isn't super specific to anything other than how I have it organized. You are going to select random action if you are planning on having multiple sounds being triggered by the same thing. If not, you don't need it. So hit OK. So now we are, hang on, let me find my shame bell. So shame bell enabled, yes. Options, random action, triggers, 1, audio cue is just the cue version that I have. So your core actions, you are going to add an action from your core. You are going to right click on this trigger area, go to core, go to, oh man, sorry. This is why I have it set up here. Sorry, my brain just kind of stopped. Core commands, core commands, command triggered. Yeah, that's what, sorry. My brain just cooked out for a second. Go to commands, go to command triggered, and then you will choose a command that you will make right here, which we're going to create a command just by example. We're going to call this shame bell. Now, there are just a couple things that you need to pay attention to here. You have your location. This is the location of the word in the chat that's going to set it off. So you can have it, so if I just go shame, if I have it set to start, it is not going to trigger if I say, you should have shame. It's not going to trigger because shame is not at the start. So for us, we are going to want to put it anywhere. Now, the annoying thing about Streamer.bot is that if I type the word shame or the word shameful or shameless, ironically, it's going to play the command for shame if I have it set to anywhere. So right now I'm just going to leave it at shame. And then basically this is why it gets kind of like annoying when it comes to random people setting things off that don't really pertain to the conversation that they're having. So your soundboard is always you're going to have to kind of moderate it yourself and be like, okay, maybe let's not use that command because it's getting triggered by like the word hey, like whatever. You can also have it be case sensitive so that, only, when you go shame in capital letters that it'll trigger. For me, I think it's fine to leave it shame, but it depends on the vibe. If you don't want it getting set off all the time, maybe make it case sensitive and capitalize it. So right now we're just going to leave it at anywhere because I think that that's the most dynamic way of doing things. You can set it to specific group permissions or user permissions. So, for example, with mine, when we have the subscriber sounds, I go and I make it available to subscribers. Also, I can go to user permissions. This is why, for people in my chat who have subscribed, they don't lose their sound effects when they're not subscribed anymore, but rather they can have a new subscription per month because I can just add it to the user permission. So I can add it here and go, I don't know, Maple Glades. So I can type in Maple Glades, hit select, and then only me would be able to use it forever, as well as the group permissions of subscribers. Yeah, so we're going to do shame. And that's just, if you leave everything blank, it's just going to be for everyone. So that's what we're going to do. Hit OK, Command shame bell, and we're going to delete the old one because we don't need it. Sub actions. So what you're going to do, you're going to go right click. You're going to go to core. I believe it's core sounds, play sound. So yeah, so your sub action is going to be the core sounds, play sound. You can do play sound from folder, but I don't do that personally. But then you just, so if I go to core and I go to sounds and I go to play sound, your audio device, this is, I don't 100% have this totally figured out in my head as to how the monitoring system works. And because sometimes I've had to set it to something that does not have a speaker because I want my audio to be monitored from OBS, not from Streamer.bot, because it's just easier for my brain to keep track of, because I don't need it playing from Streamer.bot and also monitored from OBS. Like when I don't hear sound commands coming from OBS, I know that they probably aren't going out to stream. So audio device, just know that you can set it to something with no speakers by default, but also you can go into your settings and make sure that your monitoring device is yada, yada, yada. Sorry, I'm not getting super into that right now. If you guys have more questions, we can talk about it after. Sound file to play. This is the most important thing. You want it to finish playing before continuing. And you hit on the dots and you scroll down to where I have the shame thing. Shame bell 1. Okay, so hit OK and hit OK. Boom, shame bell 1. So I'm actually going to delete these because these are my different variations of saying bye, have a beautiful time, adios, and the okay, I hope I never see you again. So whenever somebody types the word bye previously, because that's where I duplicated this from, it would play one of those three. So what you can do, because it is a random action, if I type the word shame in my OBS chat right now, given you are connected to OBS, you do need this linked, which just like Google ports, it's probably 4455 for your WebSockets thing. Just make sure that just do some Googling with that about connecting Streamer.bot to OBS. I'm not going to go into that right now. Okay, so basically you would have shame bell 2, shame bell 3, shame bell 4, so that when somebody types in shame, you get a random bell sound instead of just the same one, which I think is really way more interesting. So for now, I'm just going to delete these. Can I see? Okay, so now that your command is set up, save. You have to hit save all the time, by the way. It doesn't auto-save. Make sure you go into Streamer.bot and you're hitting save. All right, so now that we have a shame bell action, that also, when we right-clicked here, and we went to core, and we went to commands, and we went to command triggered, it created a command in the actions commands tab. So if I go down and I search for shame, my shame bell will be right here. So you can create a command from the actions triggers area so that you don't have to constantly be jumping back and forth just to create a command and then go back here. It's just simpler to keep it all in one place. Just make sure you're keeping track of it up here, you know? Okay, so now moving on to OBS. Make it a little bit bigger. Okay. So for me, the way that I have it set up as I have chatbot sounds as my OBS command so that all the sounds coming from Streamer.bot are controllable in OBS for me here. How did I do this? I went and I added a source. I went to application capture beta. There are different ways of doing this. Like I have the audio monitor thing from Exceldro, which is basically voice meter banana, but within OBS. Like there's a bunch of different ways to do it. I think the easiest way is just to application audio capture. So we're going to go Streamer.bot example. We're going to hit OK. Now it's going to pull up properties, and we're going to go to our windows because you need Streamer.bot open for this. You're going to type in window, and you're going to go right here and find your Streamer.bot 0.2.3. If you update Streamer.bot, you are going to need to update this window, otherwise it won't work. Hit OK. Match title, otherwise find same type. Yeah, you can do this or this. If you close Streamer.bot and suddenly it isn't picking it up, maybe switch it to same executable. Most of the time I'm doing otherwise find window, but sometimes it's been annoying. I don't know. Basically, both of these work, but don't do window title must match because it sometimes gets too specific and you want it to broadly look for Streamer.bot. You're likely only going to have one version of Streamer.bot on your computer running at one time unless you're getting crazy. And if you're getting crazy, you are not looking at this video for help because you know what you are doing. All right, so hit OK. So now this Streamer.bot example now is a sound source effect here, right? You are going to go to these dots. You are going to go to advanced audio properties. And we are going to go to Streamer.bot example here. And we are going to go to monitor and output. So what this does is it allows us to, it allows us to send our audio files from Streamer.bot, which is looking at the folder on our computer, sending that sound to OBS, but it isn't playing it from Streamer.bot. It's playing it from within OBS. It just consolidates everything and makes everything really nice, at least for me. You guys may have differing opinions of where you want to monitor your sounds and stuff. If you're using Wavelink because you have Elgato products, like there's probably a simpler way for you to do this than how I'm doing it here. I just know that this works. Also, this allows you to exclude or allow inside of your VOD, which I made a tutorial like further up in the Discord about these channels and how you can remove like copyrighted music or sounds or web pages or whatever you want from your VOD so that it doesn't get muted. In case like these, oh, whoops, I said a voice command and it typed in, which I can show you guys how to do that too if you want the voice commanded Discord commands. What else? Okay, so monitor and output. So now that's set. So now we should be hearing these sounds through Discord, or not through Discord, through OBS. So we're gonna hit pause here, or hit OK on that. I'm gonna mute my original chatbot sounds because it's also going to play back. But for the sake of example, I'm going to type the word shame. Please work.
Shame. Shame.
There you go. Boom. So it is now both playing through my speakers for me or into my headphones or whatever I have going. And Streamer.bot is just going to be entirely monitored in here. Like if they're like, oh, the sound commands are freaking loud or whatever, you can bring them to like here and go shame.
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 So personally, I have my audio limited and dancing right at the top of the yellow, which is why I sound like a freaking YouTube video in volume comparison to most of Twitch. But depending on where your voice is, you want your StreamerBot to be peaking somewhere 10 to 15 decibels below where your kind of average speaking is happening. So that when I'm typing and I go shame, it isn't going to be blasting people's speakers off because, you didn't check the ratio between how loud your mic is versus how loud the StreamerBot example is. Because remember, we normalized those files. So they're at -1 dB and they're probably going to be freaking loud. So it's way easier to bring volume down in OBS, case in point, just drag the slider down. But if your sound command is not loud enough, you don't want to be going into StreamerBot, going to sub actions, boosting volume, and like doing all this stuff when you can just make sure that your audio is consistent from the frickin' get-go. So if every sound command that you have that's normalized to -1, you should be good. Sometimes music sound clips can feel louder. Like I have the Giga Chad example, the Bring Me the Horizon song. If you have music as a sound effect, they are super maximized and super squashed, so they're gonna feel really loud. So those are the only times where I go into StreamerBot and I'm like, maybe we dial this to 75%, just to take a little bit of that, the like screw you volume off the top. Overall, that's how you do it. That's a pretty comprehensive video. Oh my gosh, this is 27 freaking minutes long. That's it. But yeah, if I go shame or I go bye,
Adios.
so that obviously played from two different places because of how I had the monitoring set up. In terms of this, I have the audio device set to LG Ultra Gear, which does not have a speaker. Remember, if you are getting doubles, this is what is happening. If you are monitoring both in OBS and on StreamerBot, you are going to run into some issues with doubling, potentially. Actually, I'm going to quickly go into settings, and this is more like an epilogue thing. If you go to overall general settings, your audio output device, this may or may not mute your sources. So if I go to audio LG Ultra Gear, I want this to be my output, but it also has use system default when selected device could not be found. Because I've turned this off and I hit refresh, my application volume, I'm going to see this might actually not work. So if I go shame. Oh, it did work. Okay, sweet. Okay, so, and if I go to buy, see, it doesn't play back. Wait, hang on. If I go buy, yeah, it doesn't work. So system default. Oh, I think I know what it's doing. Okay, sorry, this is a little bit of a side tangent. Basically, if you select your output device, it's only going to output audio that is from those specific sources. Like, because I have the shame bell playing out of the audio device of LG Ultra Gear, if I have something else like sheep example, the ba set to nothing, it is not going to output at all. So basically, StreamerBot every once in a while does this really ding-dong thing where it screws with my monitor device. I used to have it all set to Ultra Gear, and then I updated StreamerBot or something happened, and it rendered all of these default audio device, it rendered it to nothing, which means it has to go through the default, which means that I will get doubled audio from StreamerBot. So it's a whole thing. Don't worry about it. You're probably fine for what you're doing. I'm just saying that this can be a little bit of a headache. When in doubt, just change all of your actions to something without speakers, and then you'll be able to monitor it in OBS. And maybe you don't want to monitor it in OBS and you just want to hear it from StreamerBot because that's easier. Whatever, I have janky ways of doing things, so that's kind of that. But that's how you record sounds. That's how you normalize them. That's how you fade them out. That's how you add silence to the end, because StreamerBot sometimes likes to clip short. And that's how you set it up. And then from there, obviously, you can add more if you have random actions enabled. What else? You can add delays as well. Like example, if you want, um, you want to do the socialism meme thing. Ah, okay. Well, that didn't work properly. Um, but you should. Sorry, I'm on the wrong thing. Go. This you can set it to make things visible and then play the music and then hide the visible thing after the song is finished playing. Like it's like you can kind of get as creative as you want, but that's kind of the gist of it. So I'm sorry that this is exactly 30 minutes long. Just watch this on 1.5 speed, I guess. But I mean, you've already gotten to the end, so what am I telling you how to watch this video? Um, that's it. That's the soundboard thing. If you have questions, by all means, like hit me up or whatever, and I will help you coach through it. Hopefully, so. And also Mac users, I'm sorry that you have to use like Streamlabs chatbot or something like that. But anyways, okay, bye.